Hi, I'm Candace Blair with Nagel Point Property Management. Welcome to Smart Landlording in California. I've been managing and advising California rental owners for over 20 years. And in this series, I'm going to share practical strategies to help protect your property and increase your returns. The biggest question landlords ask, if I raise rent, will my tenant move out? In California, it's about the number, legal compliance, timing, and communication. All right, step one, you're ready to raise the rent. We want to know what you're legally allowed to raise it by. So let's consider we're in California, and quite often we see statewide rent caps. Typically, these are due to natural disasters, such as we might have a flood going on, or fires, or COVID. And so know if we're in one of those rent caps. It's AB 1482, if you look it up on the rental code, and that might restrict you from raising the rent more than 10%, or 5% plus CPI for that city. And also for rent control, which would be multifamily homes, there's some restrictions on the amount that you can raise the rent by, but typically single family homes and condos are exempt from that. And then you also want to know how much time you need to give notice for the tenants. Usually for homes that are not under rent control, when you're raising the rent and it's less than 10%, it's going to be a 30-day notice. Or if it's over 10%, a 90-day notice. Step two, let's analyze the market first. We really want to take a look at actual leased comparables. So what out there in your particular neighborhood, similar type of home, is leasing, and what did it lease for? Don't just look at what people are asking for lease, but look what leased. And also consider your property condition, any upgrades that you have, your location, HOA amenities, and seasonality. So when we're going into the end of summer or fall season, rents are going to typically taper off, and the holiday season, we're going to see lower rents. So if we're changing the rents in the summer or spring, you're usually going to have a little more leverage to go higher on the rent, because if your tenant does decide to look around and see what else is out there, they're going to see higher rents across the board. The goal is you want to have the highest sustainable rent, not the highest possible rent. Step three, we want to calculate your turnover costs. We really want to consider the cost of having a vacant rental, such as the vacancy, the cleaning and repairs, marketing, utilities, the time it takes to lease your home. So 1 month of vacancy can erase a year of modest increases. That's why it's a delicate dance. We want to make sure that we're raising it enough to cover your cost, get you a little extra income, but not lose the tenant. All right, step four, let's consider how you're going to communicate this to the tenant. We want to keep it professional, always in writing. So we want to send a written notice. There's actual forms that they have designed from the California Association of Realtors on rent increases. And you want it to be in a neutral tone. So when you present it to the tenant, you can say, as part of our annual review, I like to support it with comps so they understand you didn't just pull this dollar amount out of the sky, or, you are paying out this much every month, so you have to get this much in rent. It really needs to relate with what's going on in your marketplace. So you want to structure your rent increases to reduce resistance from the tenant. You want them to stay. It costs you more to get a new tenant. And if they're a great tenant, you want to make sure that this is balanced and a little persuasive so they stay in your home and they know you value them. All right, step five is our smart increase strategy. I always recommend smaller incremental increases versus one big, large jump. I'd rather advise my landlords to raise rent a little bit each year. You get to raise it one time a year, by the way, but smaller increases versus wait 3 years and raise it $300 or $500. That's going to create a tenant wanting to move. So you want to also align the rent increase with the lease renewal. Timing's everything in Southern California. So if you have a lease that's going to be turning over the holiday season, I suggest when you're handling that increase and that renewal, time it for 15 months or 18 months. You don't always have to do 12 months. And that way it's going to turn over during a more favorable time of year when you can make more rent on the property and have a better pool of tenants to choose from. Lastly, you want to have an annual review calendar. Always inspect your property. You want to take a look at it every year before you commit to another year with the tenant to make sure they're taking care of the home, but also that you're upholding your end of the deal too as a landlord, that you're being proactive and meeting habitability standards and being proactive for things such as smoke detectors and air filters. All right, so those were the 5 steps to raising rent without scaring a tenant away. So keep in mind and remember, legal compliance is important. Know what you're allowed to do according to California on the rent increase. Know your market knowledge and comps of other rentals around yours. And lastly, pair it with professional communication to the tenant and that you value them so they stay. And that will create sustainable rent increases. So thanks for watching. To learn more from smart landlording in California, check out our other videos. And for more general info, visit our website or just call me. If you know someone who can benefit from these videos, please share. And to stay updated on the ever-changing rental laws in California, please like and subscribe.